what I want to do today is talk a little bit about what innovation is, about what we're doing down at the Cleveland Clinic with the Global Cardiovascular Innovation Center, and hopefully answer some of your questions about why is this important for you, and what do you need to know. So, first thing, this is my favorite quote. If you do not like change, you're going to like irrelevance even less. If you don't think things are going to stay this, if you like the status quo, you're going to be far behind in a matter of minutes. This came from the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, by the way, of the U.S. Army. Okay, everybody knows what patents are? Does anybody know what this patent is? Does anybody use this patent? You've all used this patent. So what innovation is, it's problem solving. So this patent came out of the 1904 World's Fair. What is it? It's the ice cream cone. So how was the ice cream cone invented? A Syrian immigrant named Ernest Hamawi rolled up some of his waffle-like pastries, I believe they're called zabalbis, and he was next to, at the World's Fair in 1904, next to a guy selling ice cream who ran out of cups. So he couldn't sell ice cream. So he reached over and they rolled up one of these waffles, they put ice cream in it, and voila, what was created? The ice cream cone. What happened was the World's Fair had 50 other ice cream vendors and a number of other waffle vendors. Word spread, and everybody tried to find their local waffle vendor and create the ice cream cone. So you find a problem and you solve the problem. That's all innovation is. And people who find problems and solve those problems make a lot of money doing that. The other thing is, the job that you'll be working in 15 years, most of you are juniors and seniors, you've got a couple of years of college in front of you, you're going to enter the workforce in probably 5 or 6 years. In 15 years from now, the job that most of you will be working in has not yet been created. Okay? Think about that. The job that you're thinking about working in now probably has not been created. So why does all this matter? This is my iPhone. Okay? We all have iPhones, and there's more power in my hand right now than put the first man on the moon. Computing power changes, I believe it's every 5 to 10, about every 18 months, it doubles. So some 40 years ago, when I sat in classes like this, the computer that I worked with was the size of this room. And I had little cards I had to punch out. There were no personal computers and there were no iPhones. So simply put, I'm carrying 100 times more power than put Neil Armstrong on the moon. And again, think about that, because that's how fast the world is changing, and that's what you've got to keep up with. So we all know about the Cleveland Clinic, right? There's one on every corner. There's this big thing downtown. It's the largest employer, the second largest employer in the state of Ohio. Every year, though, the Cleveland Clinic, with its 40,000 employees, 1,800 of which are doctors, many, many thousands of which are nurses, have gotten to be very innovative in creating new medical products. In the last 12 years, they've created 1,600 patent applications, 340 issued patents, 600 products have been licensed out to companies like Procter & Gamble and Merck, and companies that you probably buy products from all the time. There are now 50, this says 53, actually, as of yesterday, there are 55 companies that have spun out of the Cleveland Clinic working in the biomedical field, and more than $600 million in money has been invested in those companies. And the Cleveland Clinic is now ranked as the number 4 corporate venturing arm in the world for business. Number 4 innovative system in the world. 2007, the Global Cardiovascular Innovation Center was formed. It's an economic development program to build jobs here in Ohio. It's led by the Cleveland Clinic, but also includes university hospitals, Case Western Reserve University, the Ohio State University, the University of Cincinnati, and the University of Toledo. Kind of sounds like a basketball or football conference, but we're doing medical innovation. We were established by a grant from the state of Ohio for the tune of $60 million. A lot of money. And our goal is to form 40 companies and to create 850 jobs locally. So we are an enabler for companies. Young startup companies, they have an idea. It's a long process to get a medical product through. So we provide project management. We actually work with the companies. We have a team of people who have over 50 years of experience in working with startup companies and both large and small in the area. We provide all kinds of services from design to business services to reimbursement. In medical, the customer is not, we are not the customer when we go for medical service. We all carry insurance cards, right? It's the insurance company that tells us what we're willing to pay for. So, if you got a cold, as an example, and there's a new drug out there that will heal your cold in 5 minutes, but it's not paid for by your insurance company, the chances are you're not going to be able to get that medication. So it's reimbursement, it's getting money. How are you going to get paid for the services or the product you're developing? We work with a group of venture capitalists and leaders from around the United States who help analyze the programs that the companies that we are dealing with to tell us how good or bad they are. We've developed education programs to help companies grow and learn. Even though these are people who have been out of school for a long time, they still need to learn and grow because things are changing. Remember, we talked about 100 times faster computer service. Think about that, what that means in business. And we also have a building, which I'll show you in a moment. The building was built adjacent to the Cleveland Clinic. It is a brand new building on the corner of 100th and Cedar near downtown Cleveland. It's 50,000 square feet, including 20 laboratories that look like this. It's hard to see, where young companies can come and get their business started and growing. We are 90% occupied. We have 25 companies who are in the incubator right now. And our largest company just graduated over the weekend. They started with 8 people and they're now employing over 70. And they're a health IT company. So they're looking at electronic medical records and finding out the information there. So you don't have to be a biologist or a chemist to work in the health field. You can also be a computer scientist. And they're hiring a whole bunch of people, and they still are. So if you know anybody who's in that field who's looking for a job, the company's called Explorers. So what are our measures of success? We've given out 53, we've invested in 53 projects to the tune of about $17 million. We've brought 15 new businesses to Ohio. We're operating actually 16 as of yesterday also. We've added to date 525 jobs to the local economy, and our companies have produced almost $400 million in add-on money. Let me just tell you a quick story about economic development. There's three kinds of money. There's good money, there's neutral money, and there's bad money. So today, you're going to go to lunch. At that lunch, you're going to spend money. Actually, you're going to be hosted for lunch. Money's going to be spent on that lunch. But that's money that was already in the area. So that's neutral money. And it was announced today that the 2015 NCAA regional basketball tournament is being brought to Cleveland. That's going to bring in a whole bunch of people from outside. That's good money. That's money that's not here. That's new money to the area. And then bad money is when we go to Pittsburgh and spend money in Pittsburgh. We take money out of the area. So this $400 million is all good money because it's money that has been brought into the region that gets spent and spent and spent and spent. So if you look at the programs that we've dealt with, we have 8 companies that are still in the development stage. We have 9 companies that are doing preclinical evaluation. In the biomedical world, you have to test everything. This is being tested on things that are not human. It's in the laboratories. It's with animals and with others. We have 13 companies that are currently doing clinical trials. In the medical field, you need to be approved by what's called the Federal Drug Administration, the FDA. And it's a whole process you have to go through. You have to show that what you're doing is both helpful to people and also doesn't hurt people, because you don't want to get something that gets hurt. So you hear on the news all the time that the FDA is recalling something. This is to avoid that. And we've got 9 companies that are actually selling product in market, including some that are now selling in the $50 to $100 million range. This is all in the last 5 years. So when you think about what we're doing, this is the human body. The heart's in the middle of it. We're working around the heart. So a couple of different things. What kind of technologies are we looking at? We're looking at things that can help you see into the heart. We're looking at things that can protect from blood clots and other things going around and causing bad damage. And we're dealing with all kinds of things that can deal with the diagnosis and treatment of cardiovascular disease. It's a huge industry. Over $480 billion, that's with a B, is spent every year on cardiovascular treatment. Anybody who knows about, the first thing you want to know in a business is, do you have customers? Yes, we've got customers for this business. That means somebody's going to buy it. That means somebody's going to make money. The bottom line about being an entrepreneur is making money. You don't want to hide from that. And you need to find someplace where there's customers. So this is a picture of an inside of a heart. This was taken from a device that was invented by the Cleveland Clinic. It's a camera the size of the tip of my little finger, my nail, it's actually smaller than that, on what's called a catheter that goes up through the veins from your leg up and goes into the heart and can see into the heart. So if something's going wrong in the heart, we can actually identify it, not through MRIs and CTs, which many of you may have had, or X-rays. This is actually up close and personal. The camera was actually developed out of Israel. The catheter was developed in Cleveland, and it was all put together here. And this is an actual picture. This is actually a picture of a cow's heart. Sometimes people's heart beat out of sequence. It's called arterial fibrillation, AFib. It affects more than 2 million people a year. And one of the things you have to do is get the heart back into rhythm. So there are 4 chambers to the heart. I won't do the whole full biology lesson here. There's 4 chambers to the heart. If they're not beating together, that means something's wrong. So a company was created that goes in, and the procedure is called ablation. You actually burn a little bit of the tissue around in the heart, and that gets the beating back normal. But there's a little danger with the burning. So there's another company that we've developed that's doing it with cold, called cryo. That's actually doing it with cryoablation. We're doing it now also with basically noise, with sonic noise, to get it back into going. It does the same thing. So in summary, why is all this important to you? It's important for you for business, important to you for the economy of the area, but it's very important to you. So I graduated high school in 1971. In 1971, I could expect to live to 67 years old, which back then seemed like an awfully long time ago. Today, it's a very short period of time for me. Okay? But the good news is, in the last 41 years, I'm now expected to live to 80.3 years old. So what's that? 13 more years of life because of all the medical developments. And women went from 75 years to 86 years. So if you think about it, we're living longer. That's all through medical science normally, and also a healthier lifestyle. The interesting thing in cardiovascular care is the rate of people dying from a cardiovascular incident, a heart attack, has gone down. That's the good news. However, the fact is that there are more people living with heart disease, because it used to be, if you had a heart attack, what happened? You died. That was it. Now we've invented things like stents, which open up arteries, and open heart surgery. By the way, open heart surgery was invented here at the Cleveland Clinic in 1967. So we're able to keep you alive. So we've won the battle against death when it comes to heart disease, but we have not won the war against heart disease and stroke, which means that people are living longer. So if you had a heart attack when you were in your 50s and you died, that was the end of your needs. Now you have a heart attack in your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, you live. But other heart disease starts to develop because the heart is not built to go. How many people here drive an old car? Right? What happens in an old car? Things start to go. Same thing in your body. Your heart's beating every day, 60 beats a minute, 24 hours a day. That's a lot of beating. When you get to 60 and 70 years old, that's been an awful lot of beating. Things start to go. The original parts don't work as well. So that's where all this technology is going, is to help people live longer, better lives. And I hope when you stand up in front of a class like I'm standing in front of you today, 40 years from now, you'll say, oh, those numbers are 100 and 120 years old. But that's all going to come through medical science. So it's not only the entrepreneurship of it, it's also helping you live a longer, healthier life. And hopefully you can do it without medical science, but in case you need medical science, it's great to have it right down the street. Thank you.